All right, folks, so this is the Valve Steam Deck. This is the half terabyte model, 650 bucks. I was lucky enough to get one. I put in my reservation, I think 36 minutes after it went live last year. And then I finally got it in the middle of June. So now we're in the middle of July. I've had it for basically a month. And I've done this video a few times. And every time I do the video, I just delete it because I keep finding new reasons to like the Steam Deck. And so those videos become stale before I can even edit and post them. So now the point that I'm at, and I feel pretty good about posting it this time, at least I hope I end up posting it, is that I've figured out through going through tutorials and finding other people who have accomplished these things first, that you can put the Battle.net launcher on this, you can put GOG and your Epic Games libraries on the Steam Deck, and you don't have to do anything crazy like, it's not even that crazy to install Windows, but something like that. Like you don't have to dual boot or sideload another operating system. You do have to spend a little bit of time in the Linux or the Steam OS desktop mode, but it's fully authored. Like you're supposed to do that, right? That's one of the things that you are absolutely able to do with the Steam Deck. It doesn't require any like real tweaking, just a little bit of tinkering, which I think there's a difference between tweaking and tinkering. So, because tweaking would mean like a permanent change, right? And then tinkering is you're kind of playing around with what's available to you. I really hope that's right. So, okay, this is not a full review kind of thing because if you're watching this video, that means you've probably seen 30 other Steam Deck videos at this point because I've got a small channel, but I've got a big deck. So check this out, all right? Quick overview, and then let's get into some of those libraries. And then I really want to talk to you guys about like kind of what this means for my setup, which you might find something similar in that too. Okay, so first of all, this touchpad, this haptic touchpad feels amazing. There's no way to replicate this through a video. Just know that when you rub your finger across this trackpad, it does this like haptic vibration thing with the motor and it feels really satisfying. Like sometimes I just do this when the Steam Deck is on and yeah, I just really enjoy it. This one doesn't do that. It has a different purpose. It's almost like a D-pad from what I can tell, but I don't use either one very much when I'm playing games. Since most of the games that I've been playing, again, because I'm in like a low tinkering, what was the other word I used? Anyway, I don't really want to mess with this so much that I have to find games that don't have controller support. So I'm just trying to play games that have controller support, but on occasion you have to use the mouse cursor, which this trackpad can represent, or touchpad. Okay, you got your Steam button and an options button, sort of like on the Xbox controller, another set of like menu button, and then just another button. It depends on where you are, but everything does something. The sticks feel really good. At first I was like, man, can't they put the stick down here like on the Xbox controller? But when you actually hold this thing, it feels super good. And the reason for that is that you have this awesome grip angle here. Now these buttons are harder to press intentionally because your fingers are going to be here, so you don't want to accidentally press these buttons. But these are additional buttons, so most games don't take advantage of these. And then you have your triggers as well, which feel super good. And on the top, very simple. We've got a grill, headphone jack, volume buttons, power button, USB port, and then a status indicator. So I'm gonna power this thing back on. It was in sleep mode. One of the best things about the Steam Deck is that you can be playing a game and then just put it in sleep mode. And your power draw comes down and then you're able to play your games when you're ready. So I had Diablo 2 Resurrected going on for a long time, played a ton of that on the Battle.net launcher, which did require some tinkering. That's the word, not tweaking, but tinkering. And anyway, if you play it in online mode, then when you suspend the game, the deck, and then resume it, your game's going to get disconnected. But if you play in offline mode, then you don't have that problem. So you can just pick up and play your Diablo 2 Resurrected from anywhere without an internet connection, which means you can go into airplane mode, turn off your Wi-Fi, get better battery life, and it runs so well, so well. Text can be a little hard to read because in Diablo 2 specifically, but also because this is not a very large display. I think it's like 7 inches, and the resolution is 1280 by 800, which is quite good for a small screen, but games aren't ready for the Steam Deck, right? They're not ready for small screens, so you don't actually have that flexibility or that intent by the developer, either way, like a menu option or just from the ground up development to have the text be the proper size for a small screen at that resolution. Okay, so The Steam Deck, you know, Steam, they've made it very easy for you to parse your library. You can, this is the library right now. I'm just in the gaming mode. You can press the, what's going on here? I did something. Okay, so I'm gonna go here to library. And okay, so here's my library. So first of all, you have the games that are great on the deck. So these games have a green verification checkbox. This implies that there's just no hurdles. It's been tested and verified. The games work on the Steam Deck. It doesn't mean you won't have the occasional crash or problem, but generally speaking, I've played some games that have the green check mark, although most of the games I've played do not. More on that in a moment. And I haven't really had a lot of crashes, just overall. And again, that's even on non-verified games. So let's talk about those. So I have a filter going on right now. And in my filter, I'm showing all the games that are verified, so green, and playable, which means not like perfect. So I have a yellow exclamation mark. You can go further if you want to, and then you can also come down here and you can kind of, you know, filter down by genre and stuff like that if you want single player games or whatnot. The only thing I turned on was full controller support because, again, I don't want to have to tinker too much, or was it tweak? I forgot at this point. And anyway, so I installed a lot of games that meet that criteria. So if I go to installed, you notice I use the touchpad, the touch screen at that point. It's interchangeable inside of the Steam OS. And I got a bunch of games installed. So if I come down here, again, it gives me the same icons. It tells me this one's yellow, this one's green, this one's yellow, this one's green. And I haven't played every game that's installed here, and I have played some games that are no longer installed, and I actually have got my filter running, so I'm gonna go back to all games. And you'll see that I've got games of pretty much every variety in here in terms of, like, you know, action RPGs or strategic RPGs or tactical RPGs. I've got shooters, mostly shooters. Anyway, everything seems to be running super well. So Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, a game that my buddy Kenny loves. I never really got into this. I've tried this game a bunch of times on different platforms. I figure, hey, it's Steam Deck, right? It's like an opportunity to try something again. And this game totally runs. I haven't had any issues, and it doesn't have, it has like the worst possible icon, right? Which, like, it's untested. It's not gonna work, or you probably won't get it to work. Works just fine. So anyway, this will all get better. It's like, I think when the thing launched, there were 200 games or 300 games that were functioning or as completely verified. I think that's up to 3,000 now, and that number must be a month old. So it's only going to get better. Your collections can come with you as well. And then here's the thing. This is what I really want to talk to everybody about. Now that we've got the primer out of the way, and that's what's going on right here. So if you go into the Steam OS desktop mode, you can download and then use Proton, which is a Windows exe emulator, to launch and install other launchers and stuff. So Battle.net is that example. This is the Windows install of Battle.net running in Linux or Steam OS. And it did require, like I said, a little bit of tinkering, but it totally works. I had to follow some guides, but it didn't take long, maybe an hour of me trying, and that includes the research of trying to find the right guides, then following the guides, and then I got it to work. And so I can get Diablo 2, like I mentioned, Diablo 3 will work. It's great, but the whole online, offline thing is going to be a problem if you suspend and start your games frequently, which I do. That's one of the values of the deck, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Then we have the Heroic Games Launcher. So Heroic, unlike the Battle.net where I'm just emulating Windows, Heroic is built for Linux, and it's designed to be a pass-through to your Epic and GOG libraries. So you'll see those at the top left corner. Now this interface is fine. It can be a little janky between the controllers from time to time, but ultimately it works, and once you get used to it, you won't have any issues. One of the challenges I've had, though, is that the games don't always know where to install. So it'll give you this wine prefix folder, and so you don't need to type that in. But when you go to install a game, so for example, if I come down to this Batman game, oh, okay, this time, I have that one installed already, my bad. If I go to the Aliens game, okay, and I want to install it, it says select install path. It doesn't know where to install it. Sometimes it does, most of the time it doesn't. So you can click this folder icon and you can get as far as your games folder and hit choose. But then what you have to do is come back in here, says it's not enough space, which isn't correct. Then you hit Steam X, which is your keyboard, / and then you type in Heroic, and I think it's case sensitive, it probably is. And then it will preload with your prefix, and then you can install your game. I actually may not have enough space. So what I've got going on is I've got the 512 SSD, and then I bought myself a 512 micro SD card. It's the Samsung Essentials. I think I got it for $55 during the Amazon Prime sale. And yeah, great. Games work great. It's very easy to move games over, although it does take some time for bigger games, 20 gigs, 30 gigs. I moved The Witcher 3. It took like, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes to move those 30 gigs over. Maybe it was 40 gigs. It's a big game. But anyhow, it freaking works. And so when I think about the Steam Deck and like where it fits in my overall setup here. So I've got my desktop with a 2070 Super, two 1440p 27-inch IPS displays are super nice. I mean, this is an expensive setup. And then I also have a gaming laptop with a 3070 something or other. I think it's just 3070. Maybe it's a Ti, I don't know. But anyway, that's a powerful laptop that doesn't get a ton of use unless I'm traveling and I'm not going so far that I don't mind taking a 6-pound laptop with me. And then I've got my MacBook. But this is my hobby, guys. Rich dude. It's not that. Like, I save my money and I work extra jobs. Like, for example, I teach just so I can earn extra money to buy this kind of stuff. This is where I spend my money. I don't spend money on fishing gear or shoes. This is my thing. I mean, I wear shorts that I've had for years. This is the way I roll. Okay, so anyhow, how does the whole Steam Deck thing now fit into that ecosystem? Well, at first, when it was just Steam games and I didn't want to mess around too much and I thought I'd only play the verified games, this was a nice add-on to my collection. It's like, okay, good, I'm glad I have this. Maybe it replaces my laptop for games that aren't like super new and exciting. Like, for example, Resident Evil 4 Remake, I'm really looking forward to that next year. 2 weeks ago, I thought, all right, that's for my laptop or for my desktop, is not for the Steam Deck. But then now that I have gotten a little more comfortable with it and I like that I can take my games to the backyard or outside the house entirely and then just like suspend and resume them, like that might be the biggest advantage over a desktop PC or a laptop. Now it has a totally different feeling for me. It's like, okay, now this is definitely, I can play those games portably, which is more comfortable. And then I got the Heroic thing to work and the BattleNet thing to work basically the same week. And so now it's like, all right, well, I've got my Epic library, my GOG library on the go as well, and they mostly work. I have had some crashes, full disclosure, but I think it will continue to get better, especially as more and more people adopt the Steam Deck, the way that Valve has designed this operating system, and they've encouraged people to tinker and whatever the hell the other word was, that they wanted people to mess around with these things. And so the community has been awesome for me. So if you go onto Reddit, and this is the only time I'm going to recommend Reddit, go to Reddit, find the Steam Deck subreddit. There are some amazing people who are doing incredible work to help themselves and anyone who wants to know learn how to run specific games. So I'm going to stop there as far as recommendations go, because I'm sure there are a lot of like spam sites and scammers out there that may try to collect your information or try to get you to install applications you shouldn't on this thing so they can steal your information and stuff like that. But the community itself, like if you see a guide on how to install a specific game, look for the feedback, look for how many likes it has, and then follow the instructions to a point. If they're telling you to install a bunch of weird things, I wouldn't do it. Heroic is a weird thing to install, I guess, but I've done my research and it's definitely legit, even though they could pass your credentials. Like you have to pass your Epic and GOG credentials through to them. It looks like it's all secured from what I can tell. So no concerns on that one. But if anything else, at least at this point, mid-July, I'm skeptical. So, okay, I know this is a long video, but my point in all this is to think about if you're in a similar position as me, right? You're a family man, you want to be around your kids more, and you don't want to be stuck in your office. Like I'm in my office all day for work, right? Well, not all day. I'm in here like 7 to 4, 7 to 5. Sometimes I come back in the evening, knock out some work, and I don't want to do it on the laptop. I need like the quiet in my office, and I want to get into a flow or something. If I want to play a video game, I don't want to have to come back in here. And my PlayStation's in here, so it's like, oh gosh, I want to play. If I'm on a PlayStation grind, then I'm in here for another 2 or 3 hours a week. It just adds up. The Steam Deck gives me the portability that I really wanted out of PC games that I've never had. I've been playing PC games for 30-something years, so this is amazing. And I know they're hard to come by, so some people can be salty when they see videos like this. I mean, we're 15 effing minutes into this video, so if you're salty, you're gone already, or maybe you never clicked in the first place. But again, I'm trying to speak to people who are in a similar position as me. If you're looking for a way to take your PC games on the road, feel confident that it's not just your Steam library. It's not just games that are only verified. You can go a lot farther now that the Steam Deck has been adopted by the community and more time has passed with people getting their hands on it and for Valve to validate more games. So stay tuned, not just to me, but to others who do great work covering the Steam Deck. I think this thing is a game changer and it's just the beginning. So thanks for watching this video. I'm glad I finally finished it. Catch you on the next one. Cheers.